Hey everybody, so thanks very much for following the body scan practices and the grounding practices that I've been putting on various social media channels, including TikTok and YouTube. Don't forget to look at my YouTube page, Stephanie Unthank is where you'll find me. There are dozens of practices on there, short, medium, long, so you can dip in and out and just work with me on screen, which is quite nice, I think, to have the teacher right there in front of you if you ever want to do that. I'm going to pause a little bit on delivering practices, only for a short period of time, because I just want to talk to camera about, the way that mindfulness shows up for me in my kind of everyday life, and to just bring to life for you some examples of that. And I always think it's useful to do that when it's like real and it's in the moment. So the last couple of days I've been working with a particular thing that's been going on in my life. I would say that without mindfulness, it might have got the better of me. But actually, what I want to do is just talk a little bit about how challenges affect us, how events in our lives affect us, and how with mindfulness, we can actually navigate those challenges in a way that causes us maybe a bit less suffering. So the first thing is when we're challenged, we have a situation. So let's say that you fall out with a friend. You have some type of altercation or conversation where your opinions differ and you might fall out with a friend. That isn't what's happened, by the way, for me. Hello to all my friends. Love you lots. But you fall out with a friend and you maybe have a slightly heated discussion, heated argument. And it could be work related. It might be a colleague or somebody you'd call a friend at work, or it might be somebody in your personal life, or even a family member. So any human being, essentially, right? And you have a bit of a moment, and after that moment, you move away from that space and you start to feel the consequences of what's happened. So firstly, if we are low in awareness of how that particular moment has affected us, what we won't notice is the physiological happenings that are starting to take place in the body. And they'll start from the moment that kind of altercation starts to build up. So for instance, your heart rate is likely to go up. You're probably going to have some type of spasm or muscle challenge around the gut area where your tummy tightens. It could be that you notice your jaw clenching or your shoulders are tight. It might be that your fists are tight. You're kind of using this kind of fist movement. Maybe your temples start to tighten. Maybe you notice some stress pain in the back of your neck. And all of these kind of physical symptoms with mindfulness we would notice. And it's interesting, just the other day I was talking to one of the girls that I do supervision with, and they were saying to me that the wonderful thing about mindfulness for them as a practitioner, they are a teacher, but the wonderful thing about mindfulness for them as a practitioner is that they have been able over time to tune into their body and allow their body to give them the signals of what is going on for them. Now, obviously, you don't necessarily need to practice mindfulness as a tool to be able to tune into your body. It's actually more about awareness, and overall mindfulness is about awareness, right? But if we just take the word mindfulness out of it for a minute and we just tune into what is going on in our body in any given moment of any given day, it is going to teach us so much. And actually, when we're in stress response because something's going on for us, like we feel challenged, or, as I said, with that scenario of having an altercation with somebody that we probably love or least like, the stress response causes that all of those different things to happen around the body. And therefore, the body can give us signals that we are in stress response. We're pushed into fight and flight. And actually, in that moment, we are not going to be thinking logically, rationally. Everything that is coming up for us is all around emotion and physical change. So coming back to with mindfulness, right? Now, with mindfulness, those that practice mindfulness or some tools and techniques that help them to develop awareness, all right? Forget mindfulness for a minute, but to develop awareness. What that does for us is if we're able to develop ways of becoming more aware, is that we will start to notice the changes in the body the moment that they start to happen. It takes time, of course it does, it takes practice. And as those changes in the body start to emerge, they will give us the signals that actually we're moving into fight and flight, we're starting to suffer. Cortisol and adrenaline, two of the chemicals that are related to stress response, are starting to secrete the organs and move around the body. And actually this isn't a good place for us. It's not a good place for us to be. And it's not a good place for us to be from so many different angles, physiologically, physically within the body, you know, the way that cortisol and adrenaline affects us, particularly long term. But here's the thing, emotionally, right? So when all these things happen, if we're able to tune in to the body in a way that says, whoa, hang on a minute, something's going on here, something's changing for you, the minute we can tune into that, we can then move to a place that says, whatever you're about to say is probably not going to be the thing that you would want to say if you were able to port your body up and look down at the situation from above. And it's probably not the thing that you're going to feel good about when you reflect on this moment in an hour, 2 hours, 2 days, 3 days, however long your rumination about this situation goes on for, which is a killer, right? In fact, if we're able to use the signals and the signs within the body, what we can do is teach ourselves to pause and kind of go, whoa, hang on a minute. This situation that I found myself in is not good. It's not good. It's not helping me. I'm going to suffer more as a result. It's not helping that person there. They are likely to suffer more as a result, because don't forget, behaviour breeds behaviour, right? And if I start to challenge you, you're going to start to challenge me. If I start to defend myself, you're going to defend yourself. And then we end up just doing this, like we're in a boxing ring, verbal boxing ring. So, so with mindfulness, what we're able to do is teach ourselves to become aware of the moment that we're in. And then with that awareness, bring up some tools and techniques that helps us to pause, kind of just take a moment to be with what's there, and then be slightly more considered if we can. That's the golden word, if we can. Be slightly more considered in the way that we go forward. And if we're more considered in the way we go forward, there's a really good chance that actually later on we will suffer less because of the decision we made in that moment. If our decision in the moment is just to keep verbally boxing in that boxing ring, it's very likely, and just be with this for a minute, guys, be with this for a minute, it is likely that the moment that altercation stops and you go your separate ways, you are absolutely going to taunt yourself for moments, hours, days, even weeks or months on end, until finally you find the courage, if you want to go back to that person and do whatever it is that you need to do to put things right, or maybe they do that first. But why would we put ourselves through that suffering when there's no need? Why would we do that? We've all done it, right? I've done it. Please, the first thing I would say about any mindfulness teacher, counsellor, therapist is they have not got this sussed, guys. I have not got this sussed. We've all done it. With practice, I've got much better at creating that space with practice. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people say to me, all right, Steph, so let's say you conquer creating space and you're able to bring calm to a situation and say to somebody, do you know what, actually, this is not a good time for us to carry on this discussion. Why don't we both have some space, go away, cool off, and let's come back and try and continue this conversation maybe in a way that is a little bit more friendly, amicable, compassionate, right? That's the word, compassionate. Okay, so let's say you conquer that. People say to me, let's say you conquer that. How do you then get to a point where you've still got the courage and the strength to be your true self? How do you get to the point where you can still live your values, breathe your values, be with what is there for you with conviction, right? And here's the thing. I'm a 48-year-old woman. It's taken me a long time to get to this place where I'm able to create space in a discussion to go, or actually not even in discussion, but in a moment in my life that is causing me to feel challenged and suffer. But I'm able to create that space to move away from it, reflect on it, be with it for a few hours or even a day, 24 hours, overnight. You know that old saying, just sleep on it, see how you feel tomorrow. And then take action in a way where it's controlled, it's calm, it's connected, and really importantly, it's compassionate, but it comes from a place of my deep values. My opinion, my values, that's what counts, right? But from a place where you're actually being compassionate towards the other person. And that you're not just going for them, you don't want to beat them up. You don't want to, win that boxing match. It's more about being empathetic, being compassionate, and being able to have that discussion in a way where you're able to walk in each other's shoes. But that's not to say we back down. It's not to say that we don't have an opinion. It's not to say that we just say, oh, it's okay, you were right. Even though in your heart, you know that behaviour or the way that you were treated was wrong. So look, I hope this all makes sense. The key point for me being with mindfulness, we're able to teach ourselves to create space in our lives in order to respond to situations rather than react to them. And when we react to situations, that is what causes us a downstream effect of ongoing suffering. That's the key message here. When we react to things, it causes us a downstream effect of ongoing suffering. I'm going to leave that with you, sending you light and love, and hoping that as you go forward, you can find ways to create space in your life. And I'll talk a little bit more about how we can do that in some of my chats to camera as we go forward. Lots of love, guys. Take it easy.